I don't want to vilify or demonize Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or our dear leader President DJ Trump, but if you want to be in the public eye and especially in a position of power over other people, be prepared to be scrutinized and criticized, especially when it comes to the unhealthy level of narcissism of people like Donald Trump and AOC and how it affects the rest of us. In the case of Donald Trump, his narcissism is glaringly obvious. But fortunately, many of his most selfish impulses happen to align with the nation's needs, not to mention they reflect our frustration with government and the press. And Trump's desire to get through this COVID-19 pandemic looking like a hero because he kept the country from falling apart, that's good for us too. It's a shame he blames and finger points almost every Democratic governor and even the Republican ones in the process. But ultimately, what needs to get done gets done. And while I also distrust a lot of the partisan misinformation from traditional media outlets, it's never a good idea to fight fire with fire, especially if you're the president. I wish Trump could rise above it and use those obnoxious missives from the press as a chance to unify the country, but his narcissism gets the best of him. And most of his ardent supporters are willing to overlook his childish name-calling and petty arguments with the press, which, by the way, is eerily similar to dictators like Hugo Chavez and even Fidel Castro, who did the same and went so far as to silence the press. Again, examples of dangerous narcissism from people who managed to reach the highest levels of power. But many of Trump's supporters don't seem to care. Sure, Trump's an asshole, but he's our asshole, I've heard people say. And as long as the economy keeps doing well, even some of Trump's critics would agree with that. But that's not the case with AOC. Most people overlook her narcissism because she's a lady and a Hispanic one who doubles down on identity politics by making sure to state that she's a woman of color. So it's considered racist and sexist to criticize her, which is why many of AOC's critics will claim she's trying to do what's best for the people. Hell, even I try to give her the benefit of the doubt. It's not like I want to hate her. Hatred isn't healthy. I'm open to being proved wrong about her, but I'm afraid I'm right on this one. That's because AOC's ideas are predictably disastrous. And I'm willing to bet she either doesn't understand that or she doesn't care. I'm amazed she majored in economics. I can only assume most of her professors were outright Marxists, and quite frankly, that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to assume that. I could go off and do more research on her, but honestly, I don't feel like it. Because even though I don't want to hate AOC, there's only so much I can stomach from watching and listening to her. But there's a reason why I'm bothering to do this video about her anyway. That's because the ideas she tweets out and the behavior she expresses on the floor of Congress is about all I need to know how bad her ideas are for all of us. And the motivation behind those ideas is almost as obvious as Donald Trump's. AOC is more concerned about being a hero than she is about solving problems. And that's what's so dangerous about her narcissism. What she wants to accomplish doesn't align with the rest of the country's needs. Her ideas may sound noble, but you can set your watch to the economic collapse of this country if she got all her ideas passed. Ideas such as the Green New Deal, where she was willing to pay people even if they didn't want to work. Her helping drive Amazon out of expanding in New York City because she couldn't do the basic math on tax rebates. Her call for open borders on immigration. Free college and healthcare for everyone, including illegal immigrants. And as of late, her support for rent-canceling protests, where she doesn't even seem to call for a moratorium on late rent payments. No, she wants landlords to basically eat the cost of renting their properties because she wants to prove to everyone just how progressive she is. These progressive economic ideas have proven to fail time and time again because they never factor the inescapable reality of scarcity. Something I thought most economics students learned in chapter 1 of their most basic textbooks. But she doesn't care about the inevitable unintended consequences of her progressive ideas. She just cares that she's going to be seen as the lovable Latina Mother Teresa of the poor and marginalized. And the biggest problem with her narcissism is that it isn't called out by Democrats or even seen by many left-of-center media outlets, let alone her supporters. Because it seems, and again, I'm just assuming, that many of these people are either naive or downright economically illiterate. I'll end this video by stating that at least with Trump's narcissism, it can only go so far as a second presidential term, which I'm willing to bet he'll win it considering the alternative. Joe Biden, another narcissistic career politician whose mental decline is hard to watch by anyone willing to admit it. The problem with AOC's narcissism is that we're pretty much stuck with it if she continues getting voted into Congress by her district. And since she's a cute Hispanic female of color that loves to promise free stuff that's ultimately paid with other people's money, we as a nation might be unfortunately stuck with her disingenuous smile that belies an elevated narcissism I can only hope will be brought down to earth once she gets voted out of office before it's too late. Thanks for watching.